chapter 7, understanding of data. We'll understand what is data all about. Okay. So what is data? I think you've learned this. Data is basically raw facts, unprocessed items. That is what you've learned. That means it is not an assumption. It's not hypothetical. It's the real thing that has occurred. Okay, for example, Radha scored 70 marks in computer science. That means it has occurred. She has scored. Okay, there is a person, Krishna, has scored 70. There is another person called Raman. He has scored 25. It's a fact. It's a fact means we have to accept it, right? It is going to be a real thing that has occurred as a fact. Okay, it is basically known as data. Okay, real fact or the raw data or the unprocessed item, we call it as data here. So it can be in terms of characters, numbers, information, transactions. It can be images, it can be audio, video, it can be anything. So they've just classified the data as in terms of personal details, transactions, multimedia, images, audios, animations, documents, online posts, or it can be the web pages, messages. All these things is considered as a data itself. Is data important? Definitely data is important in each and every field, isn't it? For example, you've just posted something. Okay, let's consider that you're just commenting, ma'am, you're not at all teaching well, you can improve on this, this concept is not clear to me. Okay, on the other side, ma'am, your video is really good, I'm really liking it, thank you so much. So there is some kind of comments that you're putting. Okay, there is something, you're liking this video. What is it? Everything is related only. So all these things is very, very important from the channel perspective because it carries a high business value. Because your comments, your post, liking. For example, if you like something, then you're going to get related. For example, you watch some video related on, radio about it, about Dhoni. Then you'll get tons such videos on Dhoni. Virat Kohli you watched, so you get some 10 videos on Virat Kohli. That means each and every data, you're commenting, you're liking, you're just watching, each and everything is recorded, it is being stored, it carries in high business value because they're making business out of it. They're making money out of it. It carries in high business value, right? So, and one more thing, let's consider another example, like, this is in month-end sales, year-end sales, the sales, what that they do it. Okay, basically they want to improve their business. That's what they have recorded. Okay, this is what the business. I didn't get it. We will give you a discount. That means they have made some kind of analysis, right? So monitoring and analysis of the market behavior. Okay, for example, each and every advertisement that you see, that you click will be recorded. Amazon is going to record each and every click that you do it. Because, like each and everything is important for it. So many users are using it. Okay, and these, cab booking apps, they're creating this dynamic pricing. For example, there is some college fest in the call. Okay, there is some college fest and the people will be booking so many, so many bookings will be there on that particular day. So they'll suddenly increase the price for that particular place. Dynamic pricing during festival season. Okay, and similarly, we have the other private buses, transportation, they'll increase their price based on certain analysis of data only. And hotels, they'll give you some kind of unhappy hours because they are getting customers on the weekends. They want to improve on their business. They'll give you a kind of discount, say that happy hours on the weekdays to attract the customers. Are they wrong? Definitely wrong. They have to make money. They have to improve on their business, and that's how. They can improve on that only if they work on that. And that data is important, isn't it? So each and every data, whatever we are commenting, posting, okay, whichever field you take it, everything is important. It has to be recorded. It has to be processed to make important decisions. Clear? So we'll go for the next topic. That's going to be different types of data, structured data and unstructured data. In this chapter, they've just classified it as only two types. Semi-structured, they have put under unstructured only. Don't get confused. Okay, majorly it is only two types. under that, they have just included that both structured and unstructured and they made it as a separate category in the first year. But here they've put under unstructured only. Structured is what? That means they have a predefined structure. It's already organized, well-defined format. Schema is already known. Okay, that means it is organized. Okay, it is in the form of tables, rows, and rows and columns. So everything is easy to store, easy to retrieve, easy to update, easy to modify. A database is going to be a very good example for the structured data. And you know that 20% of the data is a structured data. And 80% of the data around the world is going to be an unstructured data. Here we don't have a predefined format. No predefined format, no schema. It can be an image. I can get an image. I can get a comment. I can get a like button, or someone can just like it. Social media post, newspaper. On first day, on this day, on today, I can just see the paper. I have only complete ad in the first page. In the second day, I can have some important images and only the text. And next day, only image. Okay, no text only. Okay, someone's birthday is there. Okay, so like this, there is no particular format. Okay, newspaper is a very good example. Website is a very good example for the unstructured data type. Is the point clear? So anything else you have to, yeah. So you can also see something called metadata. Data about data is called as metadata. Let's take an example for email. So email also they have put under unstructured only. Don't get confused. So it's in case of an email, we have details like subject, to, address, from, address, main, body. These are all the data about data. It's not a data. To, from, then subject, body. It is all about data, which is called metadata. And another very good example is going to be the image. So what is the file name? What is the size? What is the type? Is it PNG? Is it JPG? Or what is the resolution of the image? These are all the information related to the, this is the information related to the image, not the image itself. Image itself is the actual data. Information related to the image will become a metadata. Data about data is called as a metadata. Clear? Those will come under database concepts as well. Okay, so we have some important definitions also. So the data, the steps involved in data processing activity. The important steps involved in data processing activity is called as data processing cycle. What are the steps that will come? You have to collect the data, data collection. Once you collect it, you store the data, data storage, and you have to process the data. Simply, if I have a huge amount of data, it is of no use. Okay, first you gather the data from various different resources. It can be in terms of handwritten records, or it can be in terms of CSV files, or it can be in terms of using a specialized software like DBMS. It can be any particular software where you can get the data, collect the data from various resources, and store the data so that it can be used in the future permanently. You store it in the secondary memory devices so that it can be retrieved, manipulated, updated for the future reference. That's why you have to store it, right? Okay, and similarly, we have a data processing. Simply, if I have a huge amount of data, it gives you no value at all. You need to process it, you need to analyze it, gather some kind of information from that. You need to, if you draw some conclusion, only then you'll be able to take some value-added decision in the company, for the company. Right? It carries a high business value when you are able to, only when the data is processed, only when the data gives you helps in taking the right decisions. Then only it's going to be profitable for the company, right? That happens. Decision making happens only when you process the data. So how can you process the data? Very simple. We can process the data by making use of some simple techniques called statistical techniques. Which are the statistical techniques? We have something called as a measure by central tendency, and measure by and measure by variability. So what is measure by central tendency? You have a huge data. Let's say that a huge data is there. What will I do with that huge data? I just want to know, I want to have some idea about that huge data. One idea about huge data. Huge collection of data, one idea about that huge data. Measure of central tendency gives you a single value. It's a single value. Okay, it's a single value from some idea about the entire data set. What is measure of central tendency? This gives you a single value that gives some idea on the entire data set. Okay, for example, I have a percentage of all the students in the class. I know the percentage of all the students in the class. I just want to know the class percentage. I want to know the class average. One value have to tell me how the class has performed. I don't want to see all the class students percentage. I don't want that. I just want one value that has to indicate the class average. Average only, right? The mean gives you the central tendency. Central tendency is basically a single value that gives an idea about the whole data set. Whole data set is all the students' percentage. One value is the mean. And mean is basically the average itself that you already know. It's highly influenced by the outliers. Outliers means what? It is the extreme large value and extreme low value is called the outliers. Okay, we'll just see the example here. And we'll go for the median. Median is basically the middle value, and you have a huge data set, and that data set has to be arranged in either in ascending order or in the descending order, and take out the middle value. That will become the median. And what if we have the odd number of values? Very simple, the middle value itself. So let's take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the odd number of elements data set I have it. I want to find the middle value. Middle value is going to be 3 only. 3 only, no doubt. What if we have even number of elements? Now, how do we take the median? Very simple. Average of middle two values give you the median. Average of middle values give you the median. 3 plus 4 by 2, 7 by 2. 7 by 2. 3.5 will be the median for that. Is the point here? So remember here, central tendency gives you a single value, but that gives you an idea about the whole data set. And let's find out. And usual measure of central tendency is the mean, median, and the mode. Mode is the most frequently occurring element in the data set. It can be most frequently occurring element in the data set. I just like red, green. In the data set, I have some colors like red. Okay, let me say that what are the different colors of Judidars I have. Red, green. Red is the most frequently used color in this data set. So red becomes the most frequently used. That is the mode. Okay, let's consider I have dresses like red, green, blue, yellow. What is the mode? No mode only. There can be no mode in the data set. For example, red, green. We can have a multiple mode also is possible. Remember, mean, median is applied only for the numerical values, whereas mode can be applied for the numerical values, even for the strings, even for the characters also we can apply this. Clear? No mode also. We can have a data set with no mode. No mode means what? Nothing is repeated. Okay, so what if it is repeated like red, green? I can have two modes. I can have multiple modes. Okay, let us see example for all these central tendency, mean, median, and the mode. And going to be what is the mean? Mean is nothing but the average. So I have some values here, 3, 4, 7, 8, 2, 7, 5. So just find out 4, 5, 6, 7. So divide by 7. This gives you the average. Normal average only. So the same data set, I'm supposed to find out the middle, median. I have to find out, arrange these elements in the ascending order. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 7, 8. So how will you find out? This is going to be 3 and this is going to be 3. It's going to be the median is going to be 5. It's going to be 5. Clear? So next we have, it's going to be median 5. And the mode in this case, what is repeated? You can just see 7 is repeated. Nothing is repeated. So 7 is the mode in this case. Clear? Understood? So we'll just go for the next one. Measure of variability or dispersion. Measure of variability or measure of dispersion, we call it. So what is measure of variability? Measure of variability gives you an idea or indicates how the value is spread across the mean or around the mean. What? I'm telling you, measure of variability means how the values are spread. How the values are spread around the mean. That gives you measure of variability. That means it gives you the degree of diversity in the data set. How a degree of diversity in the data set is what the measure of variability. So measure of variability is basically done using two methods. One is the range, using the range, and using the standard deviation. The range is very simple, difference between the maximum value and the minimum value. Okay, difference between the maximum and the minimum value in the data set. And standard deviation is basically each value, how each value varies from the mean value. How each value differs from the mean value. That is what a standard deviation gives you about. I'm telling you, measure of variability gives you what? How the values are spread around the mean. How it is spread, that is what it gives. Okay, I'll give you an example. You'll be able to understand in a better way. Let's consider some element. The same thing I have taken here, 3, 4. See, I told you about the outliers here. So what is an outlier? Extreme high value and extreme low value. For this, if I take the extreme high value is going to be around, let's consider extreme high value is 100. Don't you think that my range is going to vary? 100 minus 2 is what? 100 minus 2, then it will be 98. The range is 98. Absolutely wrong. The range and even the mean and the average, it's be highly influenced by the outliers. That's what I meant. Mean and or the average and even the range is highly influenced by the outliers. If I have such outliers, extreme high value, extreme low value, then it's definitely affect my value. That will be a wrong value. Okay. So we'll go for the standard deviation. So standard deviation, they've taken the height in terms of centimeters, and x bar is going to be the mean, the average only. X minus x bar whole square. So this is the formula they have given here. Okay, summation of, okay, it is basically I equals to 1 to n and x of I x bar whole square divided by n. This is going to be the standard deviation formula.
Okay.
Okay, I want to tell you why exactly the standard deviation is used. You'll be able to understand. Let's consider an example. I'm just taking an example. Let's consider Virat Kohli. Okay, Virat Kohli. Okay, how he's going to do his course. Okay, let's consider from 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Okay, and you should not take me wrong if I'm telling something, which is not exactly how he plays, just an example, please forgive me. Okay, so I'm just let's consider batsman V. Okay, not Virat. So let's consider batsman V. And this person, he is always, let's consider the 10 test matches or 10, some 10 matches, his scores I'm going to consider. So his scores for the 10 matches is here only. 50, 51, 48, 49, 50, 51, like this only. It is tightly clustered. Standard deviation is less. Tightly clustered, tightly bounded, I can tell. The consistency is high. The average, if you consider also average, see, let's consider another person. Let's consider batsman B, and he has scored 100 also. Let's consider 100 also he has scored. He has scored 0 also. He has scored 50 also. He has scored 80 also. Average may be 50 for him, but there is a lot of variation. A lot of variation is there from each and every match what is playing, not consistent. 0 also, 5 also, 10 also, 100 also, then 120 also, like that. Variation is there. How each value varies in the data set around the mean is called as measure of variability, or measure of dispersion, we call it. So that is, easily, you'll be able to find out using this standard deviation. Clear? So this is tightly clustered. It's widely spread. We call it as widely spread. Consistency hegide. That's what we'll be able to find out using the standard deviation. Even though in all these cases, mean, median, mode, everything may be same. But the standard deviation will give a clear picture how it is varies. How the variation is there. Variation. The name itself says.